What truly happened to the souls lost on the Titanic? Were they trapped in the icy depths, forever bound to the ship's wreckage? Dive into the chilling accounts of paranormal activity and uncover the truth behind the haunting of the RMS Titanic. Welcome to Chalk and Silence. Real crimes, real mysteries, real unsolved stories that were waiting in the dark. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, since it helps keep these stories alive. The story always begins the same way, with a ship that was more than a ship. The RMS Titanic was a statement. It was the largest moving object ever built by human hands, a floating palace of steel, wood, and ambition. In 1912, it represented the peak of technology, a belief that humanity had finally tamed the natural world. It was called unsinkable, and people believed it. On its first and only voyage, it carried the dreams of over 2,000 people. In the lavish first-class suites, you had some of the richest people in the world. Down in the third-class cabins, you had families who had sold everything they owned for a one-way ticket to a new life in America. For 4 days, the ship was a perfect world, gliding across a calm Atlantic. Then came the night of April 14th. The ocean was strangely still, like a vast mirror of black glass, and the air was freezing. This stillness made it incredibly difficult for the lookouts in the crow's nest to spot danger. An ocean with waves would have created a line of white surf at the base of an iceberg. But on this night, there was nothing. Just before midnight, a lookout spotted it. A dark mass, a mountain of ice, dead ahead. The warning bells rang. The engines were thrown into reverse, but it was too late. The ship was too big, moving too fast. The iceberg didn't tear a massive hole in the side, as many people still think. The impact was more subtle and far more lethal. The ice scraped along the starboard side, buckling steel plates and popping rivets like buttons off a shirt. This allowed water to pour into 6 of the ship's 16 watertight compartments. The problem was, the ship was only designed to survive 4 compartments flooding. The math was cold and absolute. The unsinkable ship was going to sink. What followed was 2 hours and 40 minutes of organized chaos, turning into sheer terror. The world's most advanced ship did not have enough lifeboats for everyone on board. This single fatal flaw sealed the fate of more than 1,500 souls. As the bow dipped lower and lower, the stern rose high out of the water, a terrifying silhouette against a sky full of stars. Survivors described a deep, groaning sound as the ship's structure gave way. Then it broke in two and plunged into the abyss. Those who ended up in the water, where the temperature was below freezing, didn't stand a chance. The disaster was a brutal lesson in humility, a scar on the face of a confident age. For 73 years, the Titanic lay in its silent, dark grave, more than 2 miles down. When explorers finally found the wreck in 1985, they found a tomb. The 2 massive sections of the ship lie on the seafloor, surrounded by a debris field of personal belongings. A single shoe, a leather trunk, a child's doll. It's a place of profound sadness. And ever since we started visiting this underwater graveyard, the strange stories have been trickling to the surface. Crews on expeditions have reported things that are hard to explain. Submersibles exploring the wreck have reported picking up strange sounds on their sonar and hydrophones, with some even claiming to hear faint, metallic banging noises coming from within the hull, as if someone is still trapped inside. Beyond that, on more than one occasion, ships passing over the coordinates of the wreck have reported their radio equipment acting strangely, with accounts of faint, garbled SOS messages being received decades after the Titanic's last, desperate calls for help went silent. Explorer and director James Cameron, who has made over 30 dives to the site, has spoken about the powerful, somber feeling that permeates the area. He and his crew have seen strange balls of light, or orbs, floating in the pitch-black water, captured on their high-definition cameras. These lights dart and hover in a place where no natural light can penetrate. Is it just the extreme environment playing tricks on the mind? The crushing pressure and total darkness of the deep sea are enough to make anyone feel uneasy. Or is there a connection between the ship's tragic history and these events? Could the sheer terror of that night have left a permanent scar, an echo that still resonates in the deep? The idea that spirits can become trapped in a place of intense trauma is an old one. It's called spirit attachment or residual energy. The theory is that an event with so much fear and sudden death can leave an energetic imprint on a location. If that's true, then the Titanic is one of the most spiritually charged places on Earth. The stories aren't just confined to the wreck site. They seem to follow the artifacts that are brought to the surface. The ghost of Captain Edward J. Smith is one of the most frequently reported. Years after the sinking, a second officer on another ship, the SS Winterhaven, gave a tour to a quiet, attentive passenger with a British accent. Years later, the officer saw a picture of Captain Smith and recognized him immediately as the man he had shown around his boat. Museums that display Titanic artifacts are often considered hotspots for paranormal activity. At the museum in Branson, Missouri, staff have countless stories. They report hearing disembodied whispers and the sounds of a party in the full-scale replica of the grand staircase when the building is empty. A life jacket on display is said to move on its own. One of the most chilling stories involves a display case containing a pocket watch that stopped at the exact moment its owner went into the icy water. Visitors often report feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness and a sudden, bone-chilling cold when standing near it. These accounts suggest that the spirits are not just of the ship, but of the people. The passengers and crew members who seem to be trapped, forever linked to the objects they held in their final moments. The unresolved grief and the suddenness of their end may have created a spiritual anchor, tying them to the wreckage on the ocean floor. Today, we continue to explore the Titanic with technology that the ship's builders could never have imagined. Remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, can swim through the ship's decaying corridors, sending back incredible images. These missions have given us new insights into how the ship sank and how it is being reclaimed by the ocean. But some are using technology to search for something else. Paranormal investigation teams have visited Titanic museums, armed with thermal cameras, audio recorders, and other equipment. They believe they can capture evidence of the spirits that linger there. The team from the show Ghost Adventures captured a thermal image of a figure peeking around a corner. The figure was cold, a dark shape against the warmer background, and it moved on its own. They also recorded numerous electronic voice phenomena, or EVPs, faint disembodied voices caught on their recorders, saying words like "help" and "get out." These investigations raise the possibility that future discoveries might not just be about the physical ship, but about the spiritual mystery that surrounds it. As our technology gets more sensitive, will we be able to definitively prove whether or not the ghosts of the Titanic are real? The fascination with the Titanic never seems to fade. It's a story that speaks to our deepest fears about technology, nature, and our own mortality. But at its heart, it's a human story. The importance of remembering the disaster is to remember the 1,500 people who lost their lives, each with their own story, their own dreams, and their own families. The ship itself is now in a race against time. A unique species of bacteria, named Halomonas titanici after the ship it consumes, is eating away at the steel hull. Scientists predict that within just a few decades, the wreck will collapse entirely, becoming nothing more than a rust stain on the seabed. When the last piece of the Titanic dissolves into the ocean, what will happen to the souls said to be trapped there? Will they finally find peace? Or will they be left to wander the eternal darkness of the abyss, their stories forgotten, their voices finally silenced? The tragedy of the Titanic may not have ended on that cold April night in 1912. For some, it may be continuing to this day, a silent, ghostly voyage on the bottom of the ocean. If you want to explore another case, click the video on your screen now, and thank you for watching.